Are you struggling to find a cheap build in Albion Online that's both effective and profitable? In this video, I'm going to show you 5 powerful builds that cost less than 60,000 silver and can help you dominate in PvP, make serious profit in Mist, and even thrive in the open world. These builds are easy to get, simple to play, and perfect for players who want to maximize their silver without breaking the bank. But first, if you are looking for more guides like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel for daily tips and tricks. Now let's jump into it.
Please whatever.
First, let me give you a quick overview of the mindsets you need when choosing builds in Albion Online. In this game, you are what you wear, and over time, you can constantly change your builds. You should look at the sets you're using as consumables. What I mean is that when you use a set for PvE or PvP, you should always aim for a positive return. If you spend 50k silver on a set, you need to make more than that in return to call it a profit. That's the philosophy behind using cheap builds. You can equip an affordable set, head into the black zone, and give yourself the chance to earn huge profits. This is what I call an investment. Okay, let's move on to the first build I want to introduce, which is Dual Swords. Since last year, when this weapon received a buff and its E ability damage was significantly increased, it has become one of the best choices for new players. You can easily level up its specs and even use a 4.1 set to go into the open world or the Mist and make a good profit from both PvE and PvP. The Q ability of this weapon launches you toward your target and gives you movement speed stacks. The W ability, as shown here, roots your enemy in one place, setting up a great combo with your E ability. Remember to always use your W before your E to ensure the enemy doesn't escape before you land your E. When your E hits an enemy, it increases your normal attack damage and attack speed. Additionally, the Q stacks not only boost your movement speed, but also increases your attack speed, making this combo incredibly effective. Using a mercenary jacket allows you to heal yourself easily when you combine it with your E ability, helping you sustain during fights. However, be cautious of your opponent's Hunter Hood. This item, which is also part of your own build, reflects incoming damage back to the attacker. If your opponent activates their Hunter Hood, avoid using your E ability or normal attacks until its effect is over. Make sure to use your Hunter Hood wisely as well. Always identify the most important enemy ability that you need to deflect and time it accordingly. For open world and even the Mist, you can swap the mercenary jacket for an assassin jacket. This gives you more damage output but less sustain, so choose based on your situation. Okay, the second build I want to introduce is Light Crossbow. And let me tell you, this build is absolutely amazing. In fact, one of the reasons why many pro players use it is because it works so well with chipset. This build not only has high damage, but also offers great sustain. Now let's talk about Light Crossbow. It's mostly built for kiting, so you don't have to engage in melee combat. Your Q ability throws a backfire to a target location, dealing good damage. However, be aware that the projectile's speed is a bit slow, so timing is important. Your W ability increases your movement speed while decreasing the enemies, which is extremely helpful for setting up combos with your Q ability. This ensures the enemy can't reach you. Your E ability throws a bomb at the enemy, which cannot be deflected, dealing a high amount of damage. You can play this build without a cape and combine Giga Potion, Cleric Robe, Soldier Boots, and Guardian Helmet, all defensive items, to provide excellent defense against enemies. Remember, with this build, you should always play on the edge. Make the enemy think you are losing, but you are actually not. One of the good players who explains this weapon well is Albion Online, and I will leave the link to this video and combo explanation in the description. Definitely you should check it. As a final note, if you've made it far in this video, how about subscribing, my friend? Don't be stingy! The third build I want to introduce is Wildfire Staff. This build is a beast for high IP sets. Why? Let me explain and you will be amazed. The Q ability of this weapon is spammable, meaning you can keep using it on the enemy over and over, making them regret it. The W ability used with this staff is typically the first choice. This W ability helps compensate for the mobility of the staff. If the enemy stands on your face, you can hit them with W to deal damage. And if they try to run, combining it with Soldier Boost creates a great combo, giving you excellent movement speed. Keep in mind that if you use this ability on yourself or on your allies, it gives you speed, but it doesn't affect enemies. Now we get to the interesting part, the E ability. Why can this weapon pull off high IPs? Because the E ability, which is a huge bomb, has a little bit of tricky landing time, but when it hits the enemy, it deals damage based on the percentage of their HP. It doesn't matter if the enemy has 4000 HP or 2000, it can wipe them out in one shot. However, keep in mind that some players counter this E with Mistwalker Jacket or Clerico, which can be really a pain. For your build, you can add a Cleric Robe or Mage Robe. With the Mage Robe, you get more damage, but the Cleric Robe adds good defense. For boots, you can use Soldier Boots, which are all about the speed, and for helmets, you can choose between a Guardian helmet or Hunter Hood, both offering great defense. Since this build is supposed to be cheap, no cape is used, but if you want, you can equip a Keeper Cape, which boosts your damage when your health is low, giving you a significant damage boost. If you've used this build before, feel free to share your experience with me here on my Discord channel. The fourth build I want to introduce is one of the most classic and oldest methods for new players. One-handed Curse Staff. With its sustainable damage from the Q ability, this weapon allows you to control fights easily. In many battles, you can rely solely on your Q to wear down your opponent and finish them off. Your Q ability applies a damage over time effect on the enemy. Your W ability, which is most effective in low IP fights, should usually be Curse Beam. This reduces the enemy's resistance, significantly boosting your overall DPS. It also has excellent range, making it great for kiting. If you're planning to brawl against battle axes or carving swords, you can switch to Grudge as your W ability, which increases the power of your normal attacks and is an excellent choice for close combat. Your E ability is the final strike. It places a skull curse on the enemy, and after a short delay, based on the stacks from your Q ability, it deals a massive amount of damage. This ability is extremely powerful, but keep in mind that opponents can counter it with dodge roll from their boots, guardian helmets, or cleric robes. When facing such opponents, it is better to focus on maximizing your Q and W damage. For gear, cleric robe is a great defensive option, and you can also use Hunter Hood or guardian helmet for additional protection. I also recommend Mercenary Jacket as it provides excellent sustain for this build. If you want to keep the build cheap, go for a Mist Color or a Torch as your offhand. If you're willing to spend a bit more, a Muzak pairs really well with Mercenary Jacket as it increases your healing while boosting your overall damage. Overall, this build is highly effective and versatile. One of the YouTubers who plays this build exceptionally well is Slight Edge. Make sure to check out his videos for inspiration. The last build I want to introduce is the Battle Axe, an incredible and highly versatile weapon for both PvE and PvP. This weapon provides excellent sustain and is a solid choice even in high IP fights, especially in 1 versus X scenarios. The Q ability of Battle Axe becomes very powerful when you unlock Rending Rage at level 85x Mastery. Until then, you can use the earlier Q abilities, which are still effective. These abilities not only deal initial damage, but also apply a bleeding stack to the enemy. Once the enemy has 3 stacks, their healing is reduced, giving you a significant advantage. The W ability Adrenaline Boost is a key part of this build. It increases your movement speed and boosts the damage of all your attacks. Once you activate Adrenaline Boost, simply jump onto your enemy and start dealing damage relentlessly. The ability of the battle axe has two uses. The first cast throws the axe, dealing excellent damage based on the number of bleeding stacks on the enemy. The second cast allows you to heal yourself based on those stacks. However, keep in mind that using the second cast increases the cooldown significantly, so it's better to save it for the right moment. The Mercenary Jacket pairs perfectly with Adrenaline Boost, as it accelerates your attack speed and enhances your healing. Adding Hansehu to this build gives you solid defensive options to counter enemy attack. Overall, killing someone using a battle axe is extremely difficult, as it's one of the toughest and most durable builds available for new players. Thank you so much for watching the video all the way to the end. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and check out my Discord server. We shared plenty of diverse guides there, and we also host regular giveaways. See you in the next video. Until then, good luck in Albion Online and have fun!